What's up, everybody? Passion9 here. When I was a kid, I had a green Game Boy Color. Remember those? And I owned it for the sole purpose of playing Pokemon. I loved Pokemon. It was the Pokemon craze. And I would play it on my way to school because I had a long ass bus ride, and I'd play it on the way home because I had a long ass bus ride. And then, liked it. It was fine. It's a good Pokemon machine. Then a couple years later, I got the Game Boy Advance SP and played Pokemon Gold. And then I walked away from handhelds forever. Because, to be completely honest, outside of the Pokemon craze, where Game Boys were a must-have, I was not really the biggest fan of handhelds. It just wasn't my thing. I don't know. I always preferred a TV, a couch, and a game controller. That's what I wanted. You know what I mean? There was just something more immersive, more enrapturing about that. Whereas handhelds, you got a few buttons, you got this block in your hands, and it didn't feel quite as good. You know what I mean? The presentation wasn't quite there. I just wasn't on board. Well, that's changed because the Nintendo Switch is, in every way, shape, and form, the exception. This thing is freaking brilliant, alright? Yes, it may very well be the strangest console Nintendo's ever come out with, ever. Because, look at this thing. It's wild. But, here's the thing about Nintendo's gimmicks. Sometimes I like them, sometimes I don't. Personally, I was a huge fan of the GameCube. It was my favorite Nintendo console. I liked how kind of weird and different that was. The Wii, I was not so fond of. Because I didn't give a shit about the motion controls. They weren't used well in most of the games that were on there. It was just kind of a gimmick for gimmick's sake, really. Just something new. Well, that's not the case with the Switch. The Switch is more than just a gimmick. The Switch is a practical novelty. It works. That's the simple point there. This thing works. You can have it on your TV, docked there right in front of the TV. High definition graphics, looks great. You can pull the handheld out of the dock, and you still got high definition graphics, looks great, but it's a handheld that you can just leave the room with and, take a train to the other side of town. It doesn't matter because things will still work. It's brilliant. It's brilliant because for the first time ever, I actually enjoy playing a handheld just as much as I would sitting in front of the TV. Both modes are great. This thing just has more utility in that sense. And, it's especially good because a lot of games in the past that would only come to handheld, what I call the dark ages of gaming, was once a thing that if you weren't a handheld guy, you were missing out. You were missing out on a ton of games. There's a reason why I haven't played a single Ace Attorney game, okay? Then you get to this thing, and suddenly all of those games that would have just been handhelds can now go on here because it is a handheld. All the games that, would be big budget, need to be on a TV, you want a controller in your hands, you get that too. Vice versa. It's fantastic. I love this thing. I really do. However, having said that, no console's without its flaws. And I would say that if you're playing it in TV mode, the Joy-Cons, which of course you can pull off and use individually, one in each hand, or you can plug them into this bat-looking thing and make sort of a makeshift controller, but I don't recommend that. This thing is unresponsive, feels kind of cheap, screw that. I say, if you're going to get one, get this. This GameCube controller that's been optimized and customized to work with the Switch console. And it's great. It's technically a Switch with more functionality. It's got motion sensing. It's wireless, though unfortunately you do have to get batteries. It's not, there's no cord to charge it. So that's kind of a bummer. But it feels pretty freaking good to go back to, one of my favorite console controllers out there. And it works especially well with games like Smash Brothers and, even No More Heroes I'm playing with this thing. And, it wasn't designed for something like that, but it works perfectly fine. And I would just recommend that. I would recommend that over using the Joy-Cons for everything. Because for me, they only work well on the handheld itself when you're in handheld mode. They work fine there. They don't work so well when you're in TV mode. I recommend getting this. Um, it's just a given, I would say. But you have options. That's the point here. And I just think this thing is really freaking cool, you know? But it really is the strangest console Nintendo's ever come out with. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I thought when I picked up these, physical copies of these games, I thought they were going to be little CDs like the GameCube CDs. No. No, 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 no. They are little cartridges. Little tiny chip cartridges. Look how tiny these things are. Look how thin. I feel like I could just, eat it. It's so tiny. It goes right in the top of the handheld, but it's just this tiny little thing. Wild. Just freaking wild. It's such a strange console, but I love it. I recommend it. Best Nintendo console since the GameCube. That's how I feel. So, till next time, viewers, live for the passion.